Okay. And then, all right, if you are cohort A, you're following the red schedule, which means that you will go to school Monday and Tuesday, then Wednesday is like a regular day like it is right now. Then Thursday and Friday, you're online and you'll join my online class only on Friday. If you are cohort B, you will go to school Thursday and Friday, but you'll be a regular day on Wednesday. And then you don't start school until 11. And then I will see you on Monday and Thursday during check-in. And then for distance learning, you'll be with me only on Tuesday. So it kind of gets complicated, but if you're green, you're basically the same every day except Wednesday. So everybody comes to class online like we are right now on Wednesdays. If this is confusing, which it can be to me just looking at it, another thing you can do is look at the second part of this. So let me show it to you. I put it under modules and it just kind of spells out what I was just showing you, just in a different way to help you understand, like, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I put it right here under this week's module. And you see what we were just looking at here. And then here's like the schedule overview. So you see, like, if you're A, which again, or B, you won't know if you're A or B if you chose to come back to campus or your parents chose for you. You won't know which cohort you are for sure until Thursday. I don't even know, like, I was freaking out because I saw that not your guys' class, but in one of my other classes, I had one in-person class that only had one student, which is not legal. So I was like, wait a second, there's one kid there and we can't be together. But then I got told by admin that it's because they haven't finalized it yet. So I don't even see like what you guys are yet. And they literally told us don't even look at it or freak out about it until Thursday. So I know that like Terracotta already sent out to their students if they're cohort A or B or if they're virtual. And like my sons already know what they are, but you guys are going to have to wait until Thursday. So if you're A, come back and look here and you know you're on campus Monday and Tuesday, but your virtual check-ins are from 11 to 11:55. You're distance learning every Thursday, then distance learning Thursday, Friday. And then B is the opposite. So B comes in Thursday, Friday, and then they do their virtual check-ins every day except Wednesday, and then distance learning Monday, Tuesday. Basically, if you chose A or B, if you chose to be in school, I will see you in person once a week. You will see all of your teachers once a week, even though you're in class 2 days a week. And then virtual students, I will see you guys every single day during either a virtual check-in or distance learning. So I promise I'm going to go over this again because I know it's complicated. I don't expect it to be perfect. I just want to tell you, please, 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 please make sure that you go to the virtual check-ins. Next week, it's going to be where you turn in your work. But after that, it might be just like, what's the word of the day? And I'll tell you, like, here's where you find the word of the day, and you have to type the word of the day in. It may be like a question with something that we did the day before. And here's the thing, like, you'll get participation points if you're correct. But if you're incorrect, you won't get the participation points, but you'll still be marked present. So let's say next week, you're supposed to do a virtual check-in with me because you're period 5 from 11:20 to 11:35. Say you log in and it's already 11:38. You will miss the check-in time, but you can still check in and submit your work, and I'll give you credit. It will just be considered late. However, for the virtual check-in, you will be marked absent. You must check in during that 15-minute time. Check in and do whatever it is. So we don't have a lot of points in participation right now. And you're going to start earning tons of points in participation. And it can really help your grade just by doing the check-ins, just by being there and turning stuff in. And most of the time it's going to be like a little survey or something. Like I'll literally ask you what's the word of the day, like who's the author of what we're reading right now, who are the two protagonists, something like that that you would know, and it'll be super easy. It's basically just proving to me that you're here. But because this week I cannot have you turn any work in after tonight at midnight, we're not turning in any work that we're doing, and we're saving it for next week, and you're just going to turn it in during the virtual check-in. I hope that made sense, but let's go ahead and move on and go back to our module. All right, so first of all, up here are your resources. Let's do student view because you're not going to see this. Okay, these are your Romeo and Juliet resources. They're going to be here above whatever week we're on until we're done with Romeo and Juliet, just like I did for the Odyssey. They'll stay up here above whatever module we're working on. So I made notes in here so you know exactly what's going on. We're doing a regular week this week, and then next week becomes our new quote unquote normal, okay? So let's look at our week at a glance so you know what's going on. Again, I wrote it like in 5 different places, so you don't freak out and ask me, but I bet you guys $20, somebody's still gonna ask me. All right, so again, all assignments for this week will need to be submitted next week. You are not submitting anything this week. So whatever you do this week, save it. If you're working in Office 365, it automatically saves for you. You can just go right back in and submit it next week. If you're working in Google, and you click the Google link, Google automatically saves your work too. Just make sure that it's in there and you can go and get it next week. If you're like me and you just work on your laptop, save it to your desktop. Okay. If you're on an iPad and you're doing it directly through the apps on the iPad and not through Microsoft 365, save them to your files or do it and take a screenshot so you can submit them next week. It'll be in your pictures. If you save it to files, you're just going to click the little file box. But you need to save everything you do this week because I cannot collect anything this week. Let me say that again. You need to save all your work this week because I cannot collect it until next week. And I will be collecting them during the 2 check-ins next week. So for example, on our first check-in, I'll say, turn in the work from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday last week. And you need to turn all of those in. And then the second check-in, I'll say, turn in Thursday and Friday's assignment and the reading log. And you need to turn it in that day. If you don't turn it in that day, again, you will be marked absent and you will be considered late. You'll automatically start losing points if you don't turn it in during the virtual check-in. All right. Hope that made sense. So this week, we're going to be doing a little bit of Romeo and Juliet because it's kind of a crazy week. And then just kind of learning about how to read Shakespeare's language and getting an intro into the story. We've already gone over like Shakespeare's background, but now we're going to be looking at how to read the play and what the background of the play is. So today we're going to be looking at a Romeo and Juliet intro, and then you can start your reading log. Tomorrow we're going to do an activity called getting ready to read the prologue together, and then you guys will complete the prologue questions, but that's not due until next week. And there's nothing due tonight except to work on your reading log. And then Wednesday, you're going to be reviewing and completing Shakespeare's language. And the Wednesday's reading log, but you're not turning it in yet. And then Thursday and Friday, part of your assignment is to watch a movie, one of his plays, and we'll talk about it more when we get to it. But because the play, if you choose Hamlet, good Lord, it could be like 4 hours long. But if you, most movies are like 2 hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours. So because it's so long, I'm giving you both Thursday and Friday to complete the immersion therapy assignment. And your reading log, and then you technically have even more time over the weekend until this is due for the second check-in, because I understand that 1, it's hard to get into Shakespeare. 2, a lot of his movies are really long, and 3, it's just hard to understand. So you may have to like stop and go, but you get to pick whichever one you want to watch. So knowing that now, maybe you want to start looking for it, but I'm not going to talk about the instructions until Thursday. If you'd like to get a jump start on it and figure out what you want to watch, go ahead and look at Thursday's assignment. All right, looking back at our module, I also want to point out to you guys that I have been putting like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's easy to look at our module. And I also give you guys the week at a glance. The week at a glance and the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing is going to look different next week, because we are not all in school on the same days. The only time we're all in school together is Wednesday. So my I'm still trying to figure it out, but I just want you to know we'll go over it next week when I see you guys, so that you have an idea of how to really look at it. And I'll probably leave some kind of a video for you to watch on Monday, since I won't see a lot of you guys until Tuesday, I believe. And I don't really want to waste Monday, so we'll kind of figure it out. But my intention for Romeo and Juliet was to get it done in 3 weeks. But because I'm not even going to get to see you as much as I do now starting next week, it's probably going to take us longer. And that's kind of why I wrote what I wrote in today's intro. All right, so let's go ahead and look through the Romeo and Juliet intro. Verily, we are Verona bound. And what that means is for the next 3 weeks or so, we're going to explore the original Western romance, Romeo and Juliet. We're going to be looking at Game of Thrones style warring families, Renaissance culture, youth angst with grand emotions, and high tragedy with at least 5 sex jokes. But don't worry, it's totally okay. This is very famous literature, and we're not going to get like tacky or anything. So this is actually a picture that somebody, or a piece of art that somebody created for Romeo and Juliet. And she says, "You do know that you keep missing my lips." And this source is from Romeo and Juliet. So if you want to explore it more, you can click right here. But just know that this play has inspired so many different films, books, and songs that it's impossible to count. There's literally everything from West Side Story, which is a Broadway show, and we may get to watch it usually when I'm in class and there's no pandemic going on. We also watch West Side Story to compare it. But it's also inspired like Romeo Must Die, which is like the last thing that Aaliyah was in before she died with Jet Li, to like Taylor Swift's Romeo and Juliet song, or like Love Story, and even the 90s version of Romeo and Juliet, which we always watch in my class. And it's sort of like, it's just kind of crazy. Like they make it 90s thing, and instead of being in Verona, Italy, they make it on like Verona Beach, which is really Venice Beach. But you'll see that this play raises some pretty powerful and always important themes. So those ones are love versus loyalty, challenging fate, how to complete infatuation with someone else can make you lose your own self, and that uncontrolled passion is not the be all end all of life. um and we're going to talk about like all of those things separately, but no, like they're super young. So she's 13 and he's 16 or 17. So think about like you guys are probably 14, 15 right now. All of this play happens in 3 days. So let's go ahead and look at like what the summary is. So Romeo and Juliet were 2 super angsty teens in Verona, Italy, who fell in love at a party and got married ridiculously quickly, even though their parents were sworn rivals. Again, 3 days. They literally fall in love, get married, and die in 3 days. They both die, so that's not a spoiler, and you already knew that. Remember, this is a tragedy, but this is a special one. It's why Romeo and Juliet was so popular, because it's the first time that he combined the comedy with the tragedy, but this is still considered a tragedy, and it's supposed to be a depressing work of literature, and we're about to read it. So there's a point to all the passion and the deaths in Romeo and Juliet. So that's why I said, like, don't be a hater. It is more complicated than that, and we'll get into it. Remember, this is a play, but Shakespeare was a poet, and he wrote in poetic verse. And we talked about that last time we met, which was iambic pentameter. which is what I put right here. No, real people do not talk like Shakespeare characters. In fact, they never really did, because Shakespeare kind of made up his own way with the language, especially because of using iambic pentameter. So it was even different for them. And then extend your belief. Remember, this was set in Verona, Italy during the Renaissance, but Shakespeare wrote it in England during the Elizabethan era when Elizabeth I was a queen. So it was a good time for drama and puffy collar shirts. But why do people keep making movies and songs about this story? And that's what I was talking about, like Taylor Swift, or like all those different movies that they come up and kind of change it. It's because this is timeless. It's considered one of his greatest works. So my goals for you guys is to be able to understand Shakespeare's style and be comfortable reading it, identify and demonstrate basic poetic terms and concepts, define the tropes and standards of tragedy and comedy, detect the concepts of tragedy and comedy in Romeo and Juliet, analyze the themes, discuss why the play has stayed popular, and write insightfully about the characters and how they arrive at their fates. All right, so let's go back to our module. And like I promised, today was just an intro. So, and there was a lot of information that I gave you today. So I have one more reminder for you. I sent out messages to you guys before spring break, and I believe to your parents as well, letting you know that everything in my class, all of the assignments are closing on the 6th. So that means that they all close tonight at 11:59 p.m. Every single thing. So every assignment you look in here, you see now that they all say they're available till April 5th, 11:59 p.m. All of them are like that, except for anything from this week right here. Everything else is all going to be due today, meaning it was due a long time ago, but I always leave them open for you so you can turn in late work and still get some of the points. But because of the switch and everything, I don't want your grades getting messed up in like the shuffle, and when they like, you guys won't see it and hopefully won't even notice it, but they're kind of like putting you, so every class is now going to be divided into 3. And so they're separating you guys into 3 different classes, and I have to put you back in, and I don't want your grades being messed up. Neither does any other teacher. So a lot of us are stopping any kind of turning it into Canvas this week so that we can prepare for it and make sure everything is perfect for next week and doesn't get messed up. So basically why I'm doing that is so that I can export your grades and make sure that I have them all before they start messing with things inside of Canvas and Infinite Campus, because we already know Infinite Campus does not keep up with Canvas, which is why I have to hand enter your grades, your final grades. But anyways, just as a reminder, because I kind of got off task, your last opportunity to turn in any of these late assignments is tonight at midnight. Some of you guys took advantage of spring break and turned in a bunch of stuff, and I've been grading it today, and I will have it all graded by tomorrow, but nothing is being turned in this week. Again, make sure that whatever we do this week, that you are saving it so that you can submit it next week. Okay. Hang on just a moment. I'm going to stop share.